Banner now.
We can't press it.
And you're watching CTV on the Higher Learning Network. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Brandon.
Hi, I'm Akil.
And you're watching the Betty Shabazz podcast training on the Higher Learning Network. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Aisha,
Hi, my name is Brandon.
and you're watching the Betty Shabazz podcast training number 11 on the Higher Learning Network.
Here at Betty Shabazz, we address our elders as Mom and Pop. So we'll be addressing Mr. Curtis here as Baba Curtis.
Yes. So our guest here is a WGCI regional training manager, and he will be our guest. Hi, Baba Curtis.
How you doing?
We're good.
Good.
Thank you for being our guest today.
No problem.
Okay. So our first question for you here today is, of course, we know that you're a regional training manager at WGCI, but what did that include?
Well, I was I actually was not a training manager at GCI. I was a senior account executive with V103 and then eventually GCI. So I was a senior account executive for V103 and GCI, and I did that close to 20 years. And my responsibility was to find advertisers to run ads on our radio stations. And we also, my other responsibility is when GCI or V103 did an event out in the community, my job was to find sponsors to help underwrite the cost of the event.
Okay, that's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
So we wanted to ask, do you still listen to the radio?
I do, but mostly satellite radio, mostly satellite. Yeah. So, V103 demo, meaning that who they're targeting is adults 25-54 for skewed toward females. GCI is a little younger. They target 18 to 34-year-olds. So that's why it's a good combo. What GCI can get on the adult side, the older adult side, V103 can. So a lot of advertisers will use both GCI and V103 simultaneously so they can reach the African American 18 to 54 female skew.
So within that bracket, of course, you said that you were your audience that you guys would hope for would be like younger adults to older adults. Did you ever see like a rise in younger listeners as well?
Younger than 18?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not really. No, not really. Now you will have some with the both stations. You will have some people listening that's outside the demo. For GCI, you'll find some listeners under 18 who will listen to GCI. And with V103, you'll find some listeners under 25. For that matter, you'll find listeners over 54. When I gave you that demo, that's their core. That's your primary. It doesn't mean others in a different age group cannot listen. This was the core to target. So with V103, 80% of their listeners are adults 25-54. The other 20% would be younger and older.
Why do you think they targeted that age group? Do you think it's because they didn't think that younger people would want to listen to the radio?
No, well, it depends on the product. If they're trying to, the younger people, you have sponsors and advertisers like soft drinks and telecom and all want to reach that younger listener. So they get a lot of advertising on GCI because of that. And then you have some advertisers, luxury cars, and a few other different products who want to target older listeners who have a better propensity of having more money to spend. So it all depends. It all depends.
Is there a certain race demographic that's targeted for the radio listeners?
Yeah, every radio station has a target. It just so happened that V103, because of the type of music they play, V103 and GCI target the African American. Okay, so GCI, it's hip hop, it's some R&B. With V103 is R&B and jazz.
Ooh. Can you tell us one of your favorite experiences working at the company or both those companies?
With the radio station,
Yeah.
a lot of good experiences. One of the things, especially GCI V103, we have a lot of celebrities who come to the station for interviews. They're either promoting their record label or they're promoting their movie or whatever. So I got a chance to meet a lot of celebrities, young and old. Morris Day, Pam Grier, a lot, and Chris Rock. Uh,
Ooh.
a whole lot of celebrities would come to the radio station for interviews. And then once they finished the interview, they would sign autographs and talk to the staff members. That's some of the best experiences. The other is for a long time, both stations would have trips for listener trips where they'll fly you out to different places like South Africa, Australia, etc. They'll take a lot of listeners and some of the staff members, and we'll go on these trips, and that's a good experience. So I would say the celebrities and the trips. Now, it doesn't hurt that if you're a good senior account executive, you can also make a lot of money. That doesn't hurt.
Yeah, of course.
Mhm.
So,
Put it down. Drop it. You're live on the air. Act like it.
Well, I worked in radio for 20 years, but prior to getting into radio, I worked at Six Flags Great America for a lot of years, for about 8 years. And I was selling group rates, company outings, etc. And then I got into radio. But after I left radio in 2006, I joined the Chicago Bulls, and I worked at the Chicago Bulls marketing department. And my job was to bring in sponsors like the McDonald's, Adidas, Nike to come in and be a sponsor for the Bulls, where they have signage and radio spots, etc. And then after I left the Bulls, after 8 years, I started my own company, Coop Marketing Group. And I'm doing that now. I've been doing it for the last 19 years. And basically, it's a sports marketing company. What I used to do for the Chicago Bulls exclusively, I could do for any team, any sports team, college or pro. And so I'm an independent contractor.
so this right here, this is your dream job?
Well, yes, because I'm self-employed. I have my own company, I have my own business. Yes, to answer your question, yes.
Yeah. Whenever I go out, of course, you always see a whole bunch of marketing or like banners and stuff. And I
Right.
always wondered because I live next to a couple of stadiums, but one specific one I always pass by is a baseball stadium,
Mhm.
and I always like see this banner. It's like the official drink or the official this of this baseball team. So that's like something that you would be able to do, right?
Yeah, I do that as well. Exactly.
Wow.
It all depends on their investment. I also work closely with the Chicago Sky basketball team. And so I get a lot of sponsors for them. But yes, that's an example of sponsors that I bring in. The official tennis shoe, the official soft drink, the official beer, the official luxury car. So yes, I do a lot of that.
How did you get into this business?
Which one?
The marketing business.
Being self-employed?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I always wanted to have my own company. And since my background is in marketing and then specifically sports marketing, I thought after 8 years with the Bulls, I decided that, you know what, I want to do my own thing. Now that I really have a good grip on sports marketing, now that I have these relationships and these connections, now that I know my way around, I'm going to start my own business. It's going to be sports marketing. So I got into it because I had the knowledge and I had the relationships.
Of course, you say that when you're doing marketing and you get a lot of investors, there's a lot of relationships that you need to have. If somebody were to want to get into the business, what would be a tip that you would give?
If they wanted to get into sports marketing, whether it's with a team like the Bears or Cubs or something like that, usually what they do is they want you to have a degree. It doesn't have to be necessarily in marketing, but they do want you to have a degree. And then what you do is sometimes they'll start you off with an internship. And if that goes well, they'll hire you full time. Basically, one, relationships, you know, become highly recommended. Do your homework, do your homework, ask a lot of questions for people that's in the business, and have a passion for it. So become as knowledgeable as possible. And the more you do it, whether it's your intern or full-time employee, the more you're going to learn anyway, you know. So that's what I would suggest.
Of course. What about somebody who would want to go to into business for themselves?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's obviously that's what I did. You gotta have a leap of faith. Okay, you gotta have a leap of faith because when you do that, that corporation that you used to work with, you don't have that backing anymore. You know, you don't have the medical plans and all that. You don't have that. You know, you're not guaranteed a paycheck or commission every 2 weeks. So when you're self-employed, you take that risk early on. So I just took the risk. I took a leap of faith. I took the risk, and fortunately, it turned out pretty good.
Of course. Wonderful.
So, are you retired?
No, I'm self-employed. So now, do I work 40 hours a week like I did with the Bulls and V103, et cetera? No. But being self-employed, you can set your own schedule. I got an office at home, and so I'm not retired, but I don't work as many hours like I used to when I worked for a corporation.
Um, if you were to, let's say, what do you think is better? Working for like a big company, like or working with a like a big team like the Bulls, or going into a business for yourself and being able to make your own hours, as you said, and spend more time with your family per se.
Well, when you're young, right out of college or whatever, you want to go to a corporation, you know, because you got to get established. You got to learn your way around. You got to learn your craft. And that's what you do when you're working for a corporation. Now, once you master that, and if you have a nice savings, you know, and your education is completed, you want to go and do your own business. Now that you took care of all that, that's when you do it, you know. But it's rare someone coming out of college, rare. Not to say it can't be done, it's been done, but it's rare for a college graduate to jump into entrepreneurship right away. It's been done. I know some people who did it, as a matter of fact. But probably there's no doubt in my mind, majority of the people that graduate from college, or for that matter, high school, who want to do a trade, before they become self-employed, they try to learn their craft. And then as time goes on, they'll start learning what they want to do as a entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Did you ever doubt yourself and think that you couldn't do it? Like,
Was
would you
self-employment or working in a company or what?
working as a marketer? Period. Did you ever have any struggles, or did you ever doubt yourself?
I wouldn't say I doubted myself. I had some struggles early on, you know, when I was in my early on in my career. Yeah, some peaks and valleys. Yeah, there's some struggles, but I stayed with it. You know, I didn't give up, and so I would recommend anybody that if you're doing something you like and you have early struggles, get through it. You know, just stay with it. And it's also good to have some friends and family members, uh, people in the community who's going to get your back too, and lend you some nice advice. Can't do it all by yourself.
Also heard that when you're working with family in the business, that you should never put family and business together because sometimes it doesn't work.
I can't speak on that one. I can't speak on that one because I get a little help from family, you know, as far as part time, but I can't speak on that one. For everyone who you say didn't work, I probably could find someone that did, you know. So, but I never hit that issue.
Yeah. Um, when you decided to, of course, to work in managing, what made you work in the sporting marketing
Well,
instead of
uh,
any other
well,
field?
I started off. I started off at Great America. That's entertainment business. Okay. Then I got into radio, and that's also entertainment, you know. And so then I got into sports. Now, I played sports in a long time, especially football. I played football in grade school, high school, and college. So you could say that I was a sports fanatic. I love to compete as an athlete. So I knew that one day I wanted to work for a sports team. It just so happened it was Chicago Bulls. And so my dream came true. I was able to, since I couldn't play on a professional level, I'll just do some marketing on a professional level with a sports team.
Yeah. My mom, because she says I'm always very savvy with computers and stuff, and I do stuff for fun. Like I always make banners for my mom whenever she needs it. She says I should go into the marketing business because you should always take care of your younger self for your older self. But I've always thought about it as like a hobby, so I never actually thought of actually going into business with it.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, well, what year are you in? You're what?
I'm in
You're
seventh grade.
in seventh grade. Okay, so you got some time. You got some time, but I'm glad you're thinking about it right now, though. Yeah, no, you're far ahead of I was when I was in seventh grade. Believe me.
So,
Mm.
is Chicago your hometown? That's why you work with the Chicago Bulls?
Well, I was born and raised in Chicago, South Side Chicago. I live in the suburbs now, but um, when I was to answer your question, yes, because I didn't want to at that time relocate in any other city, so that's why I chose the Chicago Bulls. So I interviewed with the Chicago Bulls, and the day of the interview, they offered me the job. And like I said, I did it for 8 years before I became self-employed. But yeah, I was born and raised on the South Side of Chicago. Proud of it. I went to Leo High School. You heard of it? Leo Catholic High School on 79th.
I I
Yeah,
think so.
yeah. I went to Leo High School, and then I
Oh,
went
the all
to
boys. I heard about the school. The all boys school.
All
The
Boys
all
School.
boys.
All Boys on 79th, right off Halsted, and they have about 250 students, and they're doing real well because they got a big support system. A lot of donors like myself. But see, Leo's been around for a long time. It's been around since 1926. So you have a lot of graduates from Leo who are very successful, and they have fun things. You know, they offer student scholarships, help them get in college. So yeah. Now, after I left Leo, University of Illinois.
We have some questions in the comments.
Oh, I
Tim
see.
Taylor.
Yeah, how long?
Yeah.
I've been self-employed for about 9 years.
Wow, that's
But
a long time.
now, if you say, well, how long you been into marketing? I've been in marketing for about 40 years. Yeah.
And how long have you been in the workforce?
Well, before I was self-employed, let's
You
see,
said
before I became self-employed, I was in the work field for about close to 40 years. Yeah, about 35 years. I'm sorry, about 35 years. Yeah, 35.
Okay.
Lily
Now,
said, "Why
Lily
did you
has a question.
start marketing?"
Why did you start marketing? Well, I majored in marketing at the University of Illinois, Champaign-Urbana. I majored in marketing. And so
Wow.
since I got my degree in marketing, I decided to pursue marketing. I like marketing because I like when you start something from start to finish. Once you finish it and it's successful, uh, it's very gratifying. Also, because those businesses who have faith in me to have them sponsor something or do something, a sponsor event, I like to see their business succeed because of the marketing that I help them with.
Yeah. Now Lily also asks, who inspires you?
Oh man, oh man. So my siblings, my parents, people I grew up in the community, um, and then one of my favorite people who indirectly inspired me was Muhammad Ali. Yeah,
Wonderful.
yeah,
Um, when going into business by yourself, because a whole bunch of people, when they go into business by themselves, their family doesn't necessarily support them. Did they support you?
yes, yes, because I paid my dues, and I did a pretty good job when I worked in the corporate world. I did a pretty good job of saving my money. I got my daughter through college, so I didn't jump into entrepreneurship till after she got out of college to make sure that her tuition and everything was paid for. So shortly after she graduated, that's when I took the leap of faith and started my own business.
That is amazing.
What year was that when you started your business?
20, what's this? This is 24, 20, around 2015. Yeah, I'm on 2015.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So you're just a naturally born like businessman at heart.
I tell you what, I've seen a lot of African American businessmen and women be successful, and those are somewhat indirectly inspire me as well, by the way. And so, all the way from the Johnson who owned Jet and Ebony to some of these younger people who get their own business. So that, inspired me indirectly. Yes. Hmm.
So one last question before we have to end. How, when you start a business, how do you market yourself to get your business up and going?
Well, see, with me, I was, how can I put it? I was kind of ahead of the game because a lot of people who make the decisions, the marketing directors at the soft drink companies, the beer companies, the shoe companies, the clothing companies, the airline companies, a lot of those guys I know when I worked at V103 and worked for the Bulls. I know a lot of decision makers. So when I jumped into my own business, I knew a lot of decision makers who controlled the marketing pot. And so that helped me tremendously. But the other stuff, I got a website and things like that. But mostly because of the relationship that I established with the decision makers. So I was that's another reason why I said the time is good to start my own business because I know the guys who spend the money to advertise. I know them, you know, and they have faith in me. And so I had a good relationship with most of those guys and they're still helping me out.
Networking is so important.
Network is very important. And that's the other thing. When I was in radio and with the Bulls, I would go to a lot of functions, a lot of events, and I would network myself, hand out my business cards. So in addition to my website, I was handing out cards. I make sure I go to events and introduce myself, and sometimes speaking engagements and all. So yeah, yeah. Hey guys, I was on the board of Betty Shabazz for several years. Yeah. Um, so I know some of you guys, not the teachers, but the administrators. Yeah.
Who do you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I was on the board. I was on the board. Hmm.
That's very, very amazing. But sadly, we have run out of time. And we very much appreciate you being on the show today,
Thank
Baba
you.
Curtis.
Thank you
Thank you
very
so
much.
No
much.
problem. I wish we had another hour.
Yes, me too. Well, you guys, today you've been watching the Betty Shabazz podcast training number 11 on the High Relay Network. Thank you. Bye.
And you're watching CTV on the Higher Learning Network. Yeah, right.
Hi, I'm Brandon. Hi, I'm Akil. And you're watching the Betty Shabazz podcast training on the Higher Learning Network. Yeah.